this while I get ready. It's on. We're just not seeing it.
And then you see my phone. Thank you. What happened? Yeah, exactly. It's running right now, but I'll get started in a couple minutes.
But I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna walk down later, so,
Got it.
yeah. Yeah, it's just for the magnesium and the zinc.
Need to walk in.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool.
Looking at that, we're gonna move a bit.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome to Morning Flow. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Castillo. Here to teach you. This class is a 4-part class. We do 15 minutes of movement, 15 minutes of meditation, 15 minutes of journaling, and 15 minutes of planning our day. We're working with a prosperity meditation from Kundalini Yoga. It's using a HAR meditation. And then we're working with the journal prompt, Who Am I? If you are enrolled in Intro to Holistic Medicine, I will be sending out an email again today just to make sure everybody has the information for this week. I teach the live class on Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the evening on Wednesday, and then also on Saturday for 2 hours from 11 a.m. To about 1. And so that class this week is all about ethics and decolonization of holistic medicine and all sorts of information that you definitely want to tune into. All right, so now we're up. Big breath. And exhale. Big breath. And exhale. Big breath. And exhale down. Big breath. And exhale down. Go ahead and just to the right. Big inhale up. And then we'll go over just a little bit and exhale down, right? Same side up. Start to stretch just a little bit over and down.
Later.
Lay down. Big up. All right, one more time. Big up. All right, big inhale. Very good. Big inhale. And we're not going super deep. Inhale. We're just kind of pulling just a little bit, really on that rib cage. Big inhale. Big inhale. Pull over. Very good. Both sides. Big inhale. And to the back. Bye, babe. I'll see you later. Very good. Big inhale up. And back. Very good. Big inhale up. And go ahead and move backwards just a little bit into that extension. And exhale. Our music left. All right, very good. Shoulder roll. Go ahead and roll your shoulders back. Very good. We lost our music and our affirmations. And forward. Back. Very good. And forward. and back. Very good. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and stretch your anterior neck. Big inhale, we're gonna go up, big inhale. And we're just gonna stretch all of that in there. And exhale down, big inhale. And exhale down, big inhale. And exhale down, one more time, big inhale. And exhale down, very good. Now we're gonna work on our abs a little bit more today, just as we build a little bit more presence to our core, to our strength. All right, so get into a really kind of comfortable position where your pelvis can be more neutral, right? And so we really want to first just engage and build awareness. Go ahead and just gently start contracting your abdomen, contracting all the muscles, all the way up, buttoning your belly button to your spine, and really just feeling really supported. Almost imagine that there's a rubber band kind of wrapped around your midsection, so pulling you in, right? Pulling you up, and then go ahead and open up in the chest area, open up at the clavicles, right? Support that low back, so don't let your low back concave. Really contract those abdomen, those abdominal muscles. Imagine that there's a zipper just zipping everything up, right? And then you want to cinch and contract everything in. And then as you inhale, you really want to suck your abdomen in. So, and then pull it all in. And we're going to hold. And exhale. Okay. So this is a very subtle movement, but what it does is it starts to strengthen your internal abdominal wall, right? So most people, when they do crunches and things like that, they're really building that outer wall, not necessarily building that inner wall. And that inner wall is what we really need for that core support, for our low back, etc. So that's why we're spending a lot of time kind of breaking this down for you. All right, so we're gonna do that one more time. So we're gonna build mental awareness to our pelvis, right? We're gonna go ahead and contract all the muscles in our pelvis. So starting at the bottom, in our pelvic region near our sex organs, we wanna start contracting there. Kegels if you got them. And then go ahead and cinch like there's a rubber band wrapped around your midsection. Right? And then zip, imagine that there's a zipper coming all the way up from the bottom to your chest area. Go ahead and squeeze in, pull, contract in, buttoning that belly button to the spine and contracting all those muscles around your abdominal region. Now pull in and hold. And release. Very good. So it's a very intentional process. And so we're connecting our mind back to our bodies, right? And that's really what this movement is about. It's getting you connected back into your body through proprioception, which is your muscle memory. So a lot of times people lose that muscle memory. They lose that connection, especially if they don't use certain muscles. So that's why kind of we spend a little bit more time focusing on different things. All right, big inhale, knee up and down, knee up and down, and knee up and down. And on the inhale, so when your knee goes up, on the inhale, one last time, inhale, good. Now we're gonna do some circles, just getting that synovial fluid working. Other side, big inhale and exhale down. Big inhale and exhale down. Big inhale and exhale down. Big inhale, and exhale down. Big inhale, and circles, 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 circles. Very good. And both knees into the chest to stretch the low back. Both knees in to stretch that low back. Also too, if you're sitting upright, it will help balance your abs. All right, very good. We did it. Big inhale. Exhale down. Big inhale. And exhale down. Big inhale. And exhale down. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stand up. We're gonna work on our hamstrings and our quads a little bit. We're gonna stand up very intentionally though. We're not just gonna stand up, unconsciously. So again, we're gonna go ahead and wrap that rubber band around our midsection. We're gonna contract our sex organs, Kegels, all the way down in there. We're going to zip. Imagine that there's a zipper zipping us up, buttoning the belly button to the spine, zipping us all the way up to our chest, cinching around and holding. We're also going to be engaging our glutes as we shift the weight, right? So we're going to shift the weight from our quads to our glutes as we're making this transition. We're going to keep our abs nice and in as we transition to a standing position, all right? So big inhale, right? We're going to engage our quads, engage our glutes, right? And then also make sure that our pelvis is also engaged. So a lot of movement happens, right? That we're not conscious of. So that's why we want to slow it all down. All right, big inhale up. And exhale, hinge forward. And nice and easy, shake your head yes, shake your head no. And then go ahead and scoop your pelvis up, roll up, back and down. Big inhale up. Exhale, hinge forward. Exhale down, shake your head yes, shake your head no. And then go ahead and scoop your abdomen up and in. One last time, big inhale. Exhale, hinge forward. You should go down a little bit lower, shake your head yes, shake your head no. Go ahead and scoop up, contracting all of your abdomen, rolling vertebra by vertebra, and release. Very good. Go ahead and grab onto your right foot. And if it's available to you, you can also hold on to something for balance. Hand on the hip to the sky, whatever works for you today. Very good. And release, other side. And we're just holding. And release. In the center, we're going to go up, down with our calves. Up, down with the feet. Getting our feet a little bit of attention. Not losing sight, forgetting about our abs, so connecting back in. All right, shake it out. Circles on the right with our feet. Circles on the left with our feet. Very good. Right side. Quad. Go ahead and hold on to your foot. And you could do the inside, the outside, the toe, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and release. Other side. Connecting in. Just really relaxing that all out, but still keeping our abdomen nice and drawn in. And relax, shake it out. All right. Beautiful. So we got our movement in. So yay, go us. Now we're gonna do a little bit of meditation. So here we are. We're gonna do our prosperity meditation. I think we're on like day 7 of 45 days. Working through a 45-day practice. I may restart the days, who knows? So here we go. So we're doing a Kundalini meditation. So if you're not familiar with Kundalini, it uses mantra, movement, and mudra. So the mudra is a hand position. So in this case, it's going to be like this. We're going to strike on the outer sides of our hands. Our eye position, our eyes are going to be closed, but there's going to be a little 10% slit, and we're going to be looking at the tip of our nose. Hold on. Let me plug my computer in. It's giving me that warning signal. So we won't be doing much of anything if we don't get any energy here. All right, there we go. We should be good now. Okay, so that's our hand position, right? We're going to be using the mantra har, right? So back into that abdomen, har, 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 right? So when we use that, har, it's going to really pull on that personal power, because a lot of times we don't have confidence to create and manifest. A lot of our manifestations get stuck because of fear. So this really works on that solar plexus and builds that tonality, right? Because your abdomen is your third chakra, personal power, self-worth. If you're in our intro to holistic medicine class, I'll drop a resource into our community, because I have lots of things, but this will give a good visual aid. Okay, so we're building that tonality into our abdomen, right, with har, har, har. Now with Kundalini, we tune in. So I'll tune in for you. You can tune in with me if you're familiar with it. So Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. So that's our tune in. And then I'll do kind of this mantra of protection right afterwards. And so I'll go through that and do that. And then we'll immediately go into the meditation. It'll be about 5 minutes, so I'll kind of walk you through 5 minutes. At the end, technically in Kundalini, you do a satnam, like a long satnam. Most of the time I don't do it. So you can, right? And that's the formal practice, whatever, but I kind of, ad-libbed. So sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Just depends on where I'm at. Okay. So now that I did all of that, let's go. I'll go ahead and tune us in. So big inhale. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Ad Gudename Jugad Gudename Sad Gudename Siddhi Gude Vedame Ad Gudename Jugad Gudename Sad Gudename Siddhi Gude Vedame Ad Gudename Jugad Gudename Sad Gudename Siddhi Gude Vedame. Okay, So now we're going to inhale, right? And we're going to go into our har, right? So I've caught the time for us. Ready? And begin. Inhale. Har, 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 har. Now remember, this is going to come from the abdomen. So we're pulling that har in. We're feeling it in the back of our throat as well as in our abdomen. And we're going to keep going. About a minute has passed, so we're going to keep going for about 4 more minutes. And continue. Heart, 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 heart. We're about halfway there. We just want to keep going, really contracting that abdomen, bringing that back into our throat, keeping our eye gaze at the tip of our nose, and continue. You should be building up some good heat at this point. So keep going. Remember, you can do anything, right? So keep going and continue. Heart, 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 heart. Keep going. About another minute here. And we'll keep going. Keeping our abdomen and our mantra consistent. Our eye gaze at the tip of our nose for the last minute. And heart, 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 heart. Another 30 seconds. Heart, 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 heart. Inhale. Root lock, go ahead and connect your abdomen, buttoning your belly button to your spine, also your sex organs, your rectum, pulling you up and in, tipping that diaphragm down, and hold the air at the top. Sip in just a little bit more air, just a little bit more air. I know. And then with a controlled exhale, exhale down. Very controlled. I know you want to just kind of, but don't do that. Nice, controlled. Exhale down. Go ahead and put your hand in a cup, visualizing all the blessings coming towards you. Right? Show me how good it can get. Show me how good it can get. Show me what my next steps are. Right? Abundance is more than just financial. It's information. It's people, places, situations, circumstances, and events. And when it shows up, using that inspired action. Trusting your intuition to that inspired action. Big inhale. And hold at the top. And controlled exhale down. Very good. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Awesome. Wonderful. Now we're going to move into the journaling phase of our morning flow class. So this journaling is really an opportunity to script, right? If you're not familiar with scripting is a technique really to create what it is you want. So there's two ways that we kind of use scripting. One is we use it to kind of dump things out, meaning we use it to really get the trash out. So I tend to recommend a trash journal to put all of those things that we just kind of dump those things out. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. And then one that we use as treasure, one that we create with. Excuse me. You don't have to use either one, you can just put it all in one, but I tend to kind of organize things, in terms of what their purpose is, so just to be intentional. Okay, so whatever you feel, right? If you have some trash you need to dump out, meaning mental trash, emotional trash, situational trash, go ahead and do that first and foremost. Get all the trash out. Whatever is kind of circling around in your mind, whether that is positive, negative, good or bad, sometimes we just need to dump it all out. Our mind is actually not made for storage, believe it or not. It's made for the quick decision making. So we want to keep a healthy mental diet by kind of dumping that out. So go ahead and take a couple minutes just to dump out what's on your mind, all that kind of negativity or positivity, whatever. Just dump out whatever's on your brain. Go ahead and dump it all out, all out, all out, all out. Dump it all out. My hair is looking crazy. Crazy. All right. Go ahead and dump. Keep dumping it all out. Write it all down. All right, cool. So now once you've gotten it all kind of out, right? So that's kind of the first step, is to just dump everything on your brain, because you don't really want to be creating with that, right? So we've been working on with this journal prompt, Who Am I, right? So Who Am I can be a scripting tool. So and how we use that as a scripting tool is we get to create every single day who we show up as, right? So who am I, right? That can be global, meaning that's who you are consistently, or we can create it in just today. So who am I today, right? So let me go ahead and meditate in. I'm going to connect with myself, right? Who am I, or who do I need to be, right? So I'm productive, I'm profitable, I'm focused, right? I'm productive, profitable, and focused, right? So that's what I want to create. So now I'm going to write from that space, right? I'm going to write how my day's going to go, right? If I am profitable, if I'm prosperous, and I'm focused, right? So whatever your words are, whatever came up for you, right? that's what you want to live into. You don't have to choose mine. You can choose something else if you want to be, because some days I want to be calm, some days I want to be relaxed. But today I really want to be profitable because I haven't been as focused on things as I need to be. I've been focused on creative things, but not practical things. So now today I need to focus more on practical things, right? So that's what I'm going to focus on today, right? So I'm going to write in the affirmative, right? So if I woke up as this person, right, as this profitable person, as this prosperous person, as this focused person, who would I be? What would I do? Definitely work out first thing in the morning, like I already do, right? I would feel confident. I would feel self-assured. Who am I? So I begin to go into the inquiry of who I am creating in this day, right? As this profitable and focused person. Prosperous, profitable, focused person. See, I can't even remember. So how I got those words, right, was through meditation. I just kind of took a couple minutes and connected with who I be and what I want, right? So based off of the result I'm trying to create. So I just took a few minutes, connected in. Now, if you have not, built that muscle in to know how you feel, right? If you're shut down, either neutral or pissed off, right? You're not going to be able to access that as quickly, right? So if that is you, if you find it you, that's okay, right? We're just going to be patient with ourselves, and maybe we're going to spend a little bit more time dumping things out, right? Because we've got some old stuff that's just not been sifted and sorted through. Okay, so as we continue to do this practice, we'll be able to feel and access more, right? Also, too, if you're on psychotropic medication, sometimes it's more difficult to feel because you're just kind of numbed out. So just be aware of that. So there's nothing wrong with you if you don't feel anything. There can be a number of reasons why that could be the case. You could be disassociating. You could just not have a healthy relationship with your emotions. All sorts of things. So don't think that, oh, I couldn't feel anything, there's something wrong. No, there's nothing wrong. So it's a practice, right? Not an event. It's a practice, right? So it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so now that you've kind of written from this new person, right? I want you to really sit with what you've created. And if you need, more time, it's really just a stream of consciousness. So we're not, writing a structured book report or anything. Just a stream of consciousness, right? Whatever's coming out, right? So we hold space for it. So now we kind of sit with, reflect with, right? I give myself permission to be. Right? So me, it's prosperous and profitable. I give myself permission to be prosperous and profitable, and it's okay. I choose to live a life of prosperity and profitability, and it's okay. I choose to be prosperous and profitable and peaceful, and it's okay. I choose to balance all these things with grace and ease, and it's okay. I give myself permission to feel these feelings of peace, prosperity, abundance, profitability. And I give myself permission to overcome my fear and adopt my faith. I have faith that I can be prosperous, profitable, and peaceful. I am prosperous, profitable, and peaceful. Big inhale. And so it is, right? So however you apply it to yourself, right, you're going to sit with that within yourself, right? And you're going to call that and create that within yourself, right? So whatever it is that you're trying to create, right, whatever it is, I don't know, you're going to really work on that resonance within yourself, right? It's not the thought that gets the job done. It's the feeling, right? So you have, an inspired thought, right? and then, or an intention, and then you bring that into your conscious awareness. Now, a lot of these come from your desires. Your desires have been placed on your heart, when you were born. So if you desire it, it actually exists, right? Even if you haven't manifested it yet. So we want to come in back into self, right? We want to focus on self because everything that's within you gets pushed out, right? So whatever you feel about yourself is what you're going to then see in the world. That's why we use I am statements, right? So as you're going through, you'll notice where you're at with certain things. When you say certain things, I give myself permission to feel this emotion. Initially, it may not feel comfortable, right? So I'm choosing to feel this, right? I'm giving myself permission to feel this. I'm choosing to feel this. This is okay to feel this, right? I'm soothing myself with this feeling. So it's a slow, gradual process because sometimes these thoughts and these feelings are so big and so profound that you don't feel worthy, right? So if you don't feel worthy, you want to work on that worth. I am good enough. I'm more than enough, right? Because a lot of people have core beliefs of I'm not enough. So that will sabotage, your manifestations if you are not clear about what it is that you want and what it is you need. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. So it's just a practice of understanding and deconstructing, right? And so we sit with these uncomfortable emotions, right? And we're trying not to run from them. It's difficult because of our shadow and our subconscious mind. We will tend to run from uncomfortable emotions. So that's why we use this practice as a daily practice to allow ourselves to process, to mentally dump out, to emotionally dump out, and to get to choose a different story for yourself proactively. And I promise you, if you get into a daily practice of this, it will get a lot easier, right? Because it's not the responsibility of people, places, situations, circumstances, and events to make you feel comfortable, right? It's not everybody's responsibility to tiptoe around you. It's your responsibility to do your internal work, to clear out whatever old past wounds, traumas that you have, right? Take personal responsibility, not for what has happened, right? But how you felt, right? What your thoughts were, right? And then if you can get congruent with your thoughts and your feelings, meaning that your thoughts about the situation match up with how you feel about it, because that's what trauma is, right? Trauma is when your thoughts and your emotions can't match up with what's physically happening. It's incongruent, right? So if we've had traumas in the past, right, we're still incongruent. We're going to have to create congruence, right? How do we create congruence? We do this process. We acknowledge what's there. We acknowledge how we feel about a certain situation, regardless of what it is, right? We choose to acknowledge it, honor it, accept it because it's ours, it's our creation. And then we also choose to let it go. We choose to release this lovingly, right? This has served us for a certain period of time. We're so grateful. We honor this part of ourselves, all of the things, right? And then we say, okay, so now we're going to reframe. So now that I have acknowledged this part of myself, right, I give myself permission to feel this. At the same time, I'm choosing to now feel something different, right? And what is that new feeling? What is that new thought? I'm going to slowly step into that, right? It doesn't feel comfortable because it's new. I'm leaving this old into this new, but I'm going to put myself there, right? I'm going to begin to assume, right, that this is my next logical step, right? And I'm going to continue to affirm within my body, my mind, and my spirit that this next logical step is the logical step, right? And then I begin to assume. So those are universal laws, cause and effect, and law of assumption. So we just don't know how to use our universal laws because we're so detached from our universal laws. We don't think about them, we don't use them because we're oftentimes mired with religion. Religion doesn't want us to really focus on what our universal natural laws, universal laws of nature that no man can impact. For every action, there's a reaction. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. These are universal laws that drive not only our science, but also metaphysics. So, just so you're aware. So we use metaphysics a lot in holistic medicine naturally, because we are not only alchemizing our world, but we help other people alchemize their world. And that's why in holistic, it's very different. You have to have, some sort of connection to the work. Otherwise, you won't be able to do what you need. You'll be like, not just a health coach or something like that, but there's a big difference between being a holistic doctor and maybe just being a holistic practitioner or somebody like that, right? It's the depth of study, it's the depth of understanding, it's the depth of being able to not only educate it, but practically create it, and you have lots of evidence of that, okay? So physician, heal thyself, right? All right, cool. So we finished that aspect of it in terms of our journaling, right? Now, this is probably my favorite part of the whole thing. So now, from that new creation of yourself, right? So for me, it was peaceful, profitable, and prosperous, right? So from that space of being peaceful, profitable, and prosperous, right? Now I'm going to create my day, right? And so first things first, I'm going to prioritize what I need to get done in my day, meaning I'm going to prioritize myself first, right? Everybody prioritizes themselves last. Nope, we're going to prioritize ourselves first. So first thing we're going to do is put our meals in our schedule and put our breaks in our schedule. Now, that means we need to be conscious of what we're going to eat, which means if we haven't prepped our meals, we're going to have to put that in there, right? I strongly encourage like crock pot, food steamer, those sorts of things, because they're very easy and you can throw things in them, turn them on, walk away. There's not a whole bunch of muss and fuss with that, right? So we put our meals in our schedule for the day. And then, right, we put what we need to accomplish. So whether that is a work priority or a family priority, we choose, So for instance, I have a work priority, over my husband right now. He understands that, right? But we still create our time and that sort of thing, but I don't have like little kids and stuff like that. So, not anymore. So if you have that going on, you'd obviously have to put them in there and whatever they need in their day. And here's the thing, if you do have kids, a schedule is paramount, right? Because little kids and their nervous systems, they don't know what's going on. And we assume that they do know what's going on, and we're taking them here and we're taking them there. And it can be very harmful. Again, I was in family practice for like 15 years. And so I would always teach parents to slow down, talk to your children, tell your children what's going on. Don't just fling them from here and fling them to there, and this is what's going on, and that's what's going on, and don't ask me anything, I'm not going to tell you. No, that's very traumatizing to the nervous system. So you have to say, hey, this is our schedule for the day, this is what we can expect, just so that they know and they understand what's going on and what's happening. So they're not just holding on for dear life, because again, their little nervous systems, they don't know what's going on. And because what can happen is if you don't exhibit yourself, right, as a leader to them, right, what's going to happen is they look at you and they go, I can't trust this lady, I can't trust this guy, like this person is all over the place, right, because they're so smart, right, they're actually think that they're smarter than us, and I would agree, quite honestly, just from all the kiddos that I've treated in families. I'm like, teach me, teach out. So anyway, but the reality is that we have to communicate with our children. We have to tell them what's going on. Their little nervous systems are so precious, and we don't want to just be flinging them from point A to point B. We do want to tell them, hey, this is our schedule, this is our structure, this is what we're doing for today. They may have input, right? Which you have to navigate that in communication, there's that. But definitely making sure that, you tell them and communicate with them so they know what's going on, right? Because they'll have all these chemicals and hormones happening and they have no idea what's going on. All right. So make sure that you put that everything in your day and you day plan. And really, I try to shoot for like 3 to 5, pretty major tasks. Like not the little like, hey, I'm going to grab this really quick or pick this up. Not the little things that just take a couple seconds, but 3 to 5 solid things that, absolutely forwarded my mission, my vision, etc. Right? I've been in natural health for, like I said, over 20 years professionally. So there's always something to do. It is very much a journey and not a destination. And especially if you want to do it with an authenticity and integrity, and you don't want to do things unconsciously or just solely based off of financial gain. Like I've never wanted to create things just based off of solely financial gain. I want to create more in use value than I receive in cash value. So, and that's really how you build legacies, and that's really how you build, a long-lasting brand that survives the test of time. Because quite frankly, in the holistic space, there's so many people, right? And it's a very crowded space. And I'm not saying that from a scarcity perspective. I'm saying that from a perspective of there's a lot of messaging out there. There's a lot of conflicting messaging out there, and it's only going to get worse. And so you really knowing who you are, right, inside and out, so you don't get caught up hello, blessed high rising. So you don't get caught up in all the fanfare and the fancy and whatever. Like you are genuinely and authentically and with integrity walking in purpose with what you're doing, right? That's a very different experience than, oh, I'm going to go hustle and make a buck because something went viral, right? So, there's virility is great, right? And obviously it brings more exposure, but it's execution. It's what you do after that. So, if you don't have a good execution strategy, if you don't have a good support strategy, if you can't pivot on the fly, these are all skills, right? You can't, there's something called the pentacle of your success, and the pentacle of success happens between like 9 and 12. And what the pinnacle of success is, it's built off your conscious mind. So remember, your conscious mind gives decision making, etc., logic, reason, that sort of thing. So the pentacle of your success is really like that level of success that you feel comfortable with, right? That in your mind you have determined, this is where I feel the safest, right? Pretty much. And so if you, let's say, have a success, let's say you hit the lottery or you go viral or something happens, right, beyond your control, that's just kind of a fluke, right? What happens is that if your pentacle of success is hardwired, right, to be at, let's say, this lower level, and you've launched up now this higher level, right, here's what's going to happen. You're going to sabotage it, right? So boom, the success, your mind goes, we're not safe. We are not safe. And it will automatically bring that down and you will sabotage it. Okay. So this is why people, they get the major successes, right? And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, and it makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Why they would sabotage themselves like that. But we know this to be true because we know the pentacle of success. And so the trick is, when you're trying to expand, right? When you're trying to go past where you feel comfortable, right? Your nervous system is going to get activated, okay? And they don't tell you that, right? So also, if I have an exploitation wound, right? Let's say I have a generation of generations or trauma that has been unprocessed in my line, right? I.e. from slavery. Hello! Blessed High Rising Wireless. Let's say I have an unhealed exploitation wound from slavery, right? I'm going to then consciously and unconsciously make choices where I'm subjugated, be in relationships where I'm subjugated, choose to be subjugated. Why? Because in my unconscious, I believe that I should be exploited. So I'm never going to be able to get out of that cycle until I recognize, right, that exploitation wound and where it came from. And that may be deep. It may not even be this lifetime. It may be different generations. It may be all kinds of things, right? So this is why we do this on a daily. This is a daily practice, right? Because there's a lot going on and there's a lot to sift and sort, right? And we don't want to keep building things up. What are things? We don't want to keep building negativity. We don't want to keep building resentments, frustrations, etc. We don't want to keep swallowing our communication, because that's what happens. We don't get to express and communicate because we're, trying to balance and juggle and, pretty much be in this hyper vigilant state. We have to fawn. So when we abandon ourselves, right, to make sure that other people are comfortable, that's fawning. So code switching is as a form of fawning, where we're self-abandoning to make other people feel comfortable. But it's a survival mechanism that's been put in place for a long time. So it's automatic. So in order for us to break through it, we have to acknowledge when we're doing it and why we're doing it. It's a safety mechanism. So as we, again, work on expanding, right, and work on lifting, there's all these little tentacles that are in the way, that come up, that we have to navigate. I used to think, God, like, I do all this stuff and all the things, and why do I not have the result, that I want, or that other people have, or whatever, and I don't tend to compare myself with others. However, it's part of human nature. Yeah, exactly. It's human nature to go, okay, so I'm over here doing my thing. I'm cheering for other people doing their thing. And so what's going on? Each and every road, each and every individual road is so different. And when I really began to accept that, right, that perhaps, my road is a lot different than other people, and begin to, accept for what really I have for myself and ultimately what God has for me, you recognize that sometimes, when you go through more, you gain more, right? Because again, for every action, there's a reaction, right? So if I'm having to dig really deep on this one, right, then, I'm going to be able to, once I do the hard work and I look at this and I really, make peace with this, then I know that the breakthrough from the breakdown is going to be that much sweeter, right? So I know that this can be really challenging to accept, and there's so many emotions along the way in terms of, us accepting ourselves, us accepting other people, us recognizing when we speak truth to power, when we don't speak truth to power, how we self-abandon, how we keep ourselves in. And hold on one second. Wireless, oh, thank you so much. This just hit me. You have a boyfriend now? Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Wireless has a boyfriend. Wait a second. And so this type of work, again, it's very deep, it's very cathartic, but when we do it every single day, it gets easier, right? And so what are we doing every day? We are, whatever it is, we are dumping it out. We are writing it down. Whatever anger, hurt, disappointment, frustration, pain, sadness, whatever it is, right? We're dumping that out. I suggest you put it in a trash journal, because really you dump it every day, and then when the journal gets filled, you throw it in the trash, because there's really nothing to go back and read. It's all stuff you throw it away. It's not anything that's going to help serve you, but they are thoughts and emotions that are natural, right, when you're dealing with an oppressive system and you're dealing with things that are not fair, right? Because lordy, if things were really fair, lordy, right? So I love the attack on DEI, by the way. It's hysterical. The biggest DEI people are the ones attacking DEI, but I digress. So there is definitely a lot of shenanigans that happen outside of ourselves, people, places, situations, circumstances, and events. And we have thoughts and feelings about them even if we don't communicate them, even if we don't express them. So even if we don't like politics, or we don't like talking about emotions, or I don't like confrontation, or whatever your thing is, right? Or you avoid, you repress, you deny, whatever your vibe is. The reality is that you can't hide from yourself, right? And again, for every action, there's a reaction. So you're better off facing the uncomfortability and facing whatever it is, your thoughts and your feelings about them, than running from them, right? Because if you face somebody, a situation, a circumstance, or event, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, that is your problem, not their problem. I know that's difficult to understand. Why? Because you are having a reaction to something that they're doing, saying, being. Right? Remember, when you point the finger at someone else, there's 3 pointing back at you. And everyone is you pushed out. Right? So you want to take radical personal responsibility. If you want it to change, right? If you're satisfied with being the victim of it and having to deal, again and again and again, and you get wrapped up in the story and you want to call everybody and tell everybody how righteous you are and how everybody else is so flawed, and if you want to get that energy going, like, no judgment, like that's cathartic and it serves you for a reason. But unless you want it to stop showing up, you want to stop giving it energy, right? And not just ignoring it. Remember, avoid, repress, deny are those strategies. We're not going to avoid it, right? Because avoiding it is still going to be there, right? Repressing it, you're going to put it in your organs. You're going to make yourself sick, right? And avoiding it just makes it bigger. So avoiding, repressing, denying, it just doesn't work. So if we do this practice every day, just like brushing your teeth, it doesn't become that overwhelming anymore. Then it's like, okay, I think I can handle this, right? I've got a practice that I can go to every single day. Because honestly, it's not practical to do this part with a therapist. And even with a therapist, you still have to do your own part, right? So a lot of times I want comfort, I want support, I want somebody to help me, right? And I get that, right? But real, it's just you, a book and a pen, babe. Somebody else talking, helping you sift and sort it is literally just for your own comfort. It doesn't help forward it any. It's you with the pen, with the paper, ugly crying, acknowledging, accepting, processing, sifting and sorting. You have to sift and sort because there's so many things going on. And that way, no, they're not. Therapists are just they're there as a container for you to work in. And if you're not growing and you're not evolving, it could be time to leave the therapist. It's not, therapy can be a really good tool if used correctly. But there's a lot of people that get into therapy and they don't tell the truth in therapy, or they manipulate the therapist in therapy, or they are not really working in the therapist's office. It's more or less just, I'm coming every single week or every single month to talk about my problems, but not really give any practical solutions, right? And so we need some practical solutions so that when this shows up, we know what to do. We need actual tools of living. Otherwise, we're just going to create more dependency. So instead of taking a pill, now you're taking a therapist, right? And I'm just not a big fan of dependency, even in my own practice, because there's a fine line between support and empowering somebody, and then also, in like you said, enabling somebody, and not progressing forward for whatever reason. So we definitely want to check that. Okay, so from that perspective, right, we're acknowledging our own emotions. We're acknowledging how we feel, what our thoughts are. And here's the thing, all of it is okay. When I really started getting into this practice, I had like books all around my house. Like I had little journals all around my house. And I would, like, if somebody would piss me off, I would stop and I would just like, that MF, I mean, I would just let it fly. Like, I don't really I didn't care because I didn't want that anger to be internalized within me, right? So if a person, right, a situation, a circumstance, or an event, right, outside of myself triggers me emotionally, right? So then I'm triggered, right? What is our triggers? Our triggers tend to be, control, pride, anger, judgment, hatred, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those are our typical trigger reactions, right? So we're finding ourselves doing one of those trigger reactions, right? And so then we stop and we go, wait a second, right? Because if you're going to go through with that reaction, then what's actually happening is you're giving your power away, right? Because you're operating out of just your emotion. You're not operating out of your logic, your reason, or your decision making. You're operating out of your primitive mind and your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind, which is the storage, it's the experiences from the past. Your primitive mind, which regulates fight or flight, it's love or fear. So you're in a fear state, and now you're away we go. Whatever that fear state is, right? So we have to be careful because we can make things worse, right? If we react too quickly and we don't own ourselves, right? We're not with ourselves. We don't support our emotional state, right, properly. Then what can end up happening is we jump out, we react, we sabotage ourselves, right? So, and if you're a professional, you don't have the luxury. I mean, you can go around and torch every bridge that is extended to you, but my recommendation would be not to do that. Just if you want to have a good career, I mean, I don't know. So we want to take a step back, and we really want to be with ourselves, right? And do this on a daily, and too, like, I would think back to like when my husband would do crazy things, like just really things that were just like really, like, you really thought that was like, and nothing, like just little things, right? And I would get people, places, situations, circumstances, and events, and I would get triggered and I would break down, right, within myself. And then I would try to talk to him, right? And that really would go nowhere, because either there's defensiveness or he'll listen but blink, whatever, or it was me trying to manipulate, control, fix, coerce, whatever, right? So there's all these things. And so when I stopped seeking outside of myself, right, meaning I stopped wanting him or needing him to satisfy something within myself, right? When I started to stop and go, okay, so if I feel, so based off of this situation, circumstance, and event, I feel this, whatever this is. And so I'm going to sit with that wounding and sit with that hurt, right? And I'm going to allow myself to feel it. And it's going to be okay. And I'm going to accept how I feel, right? And I'm going to allow myself the space and the place to be with that emotion, right? And I'm going to give that emotion love. I'm going to give that emotion support. I'm going to give that emotion acknowledgement, because a lot of times that emotion is raw, coming from my inner child. It's just happened to show up in my husband, who's very much in touch with his inner child, right? So it gets triggered within me. So I could go outside of myself and try to deal with it, but if the cause is actually my own emotional wounding and my own emotional hurt, then nothing outside of myself is actually going to fix it. So I'm all about efficiency. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, a whole lot of money, a whole lot of energy doing anything. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so instead of me spending all this time, hours upon hours, trying to convince this man, blah, 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 who's not really going to hear it, I'm going to go within myself and I'm going to heal that wound. I'm going to first acknowledge it, accept it, write about it, journal about it, cry about it, scream about it, yell about it, whatever I need to do, right? But I'm going to give myself the space to feel this emotion to its entirety and acknowledge it. And then once I've let it go to the point where I've given myself that freedom to feel it and not try to keep pushing it away and resisting it, now it feels safer to let it go. But if I try to do that initially, it's just going to hold on for dear life. So I'm going to observe it. I'm going to be gentle with it. I'm going to allow. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. They don't, yeah, blink, yeah, exactly. And then he would get into a thing where he'd want to he's like, okay, babe, let's talk about it. And I'd be talking and talking and talking. It'd just be me talking. We're back in therapy again. No, we're not talking no more. I'm done talking. We're not talking about this. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on, so your behavior, right? If you're not nice to me, what am I going to naturally do? I'm going to pull away. So if you want me to be in your world, you're going to have to be nice. And if you're not nice, I'm going to pull away, not in a manipulative way, but I'm going to work on myself. So I'm going to focus on myself because I have to take care of myself. And the moment that I started to focus just on myself, all of a sudden, magically, he started to figure it out without effort on my part. No more long conversations about this, that, and the third. And, nobody had time for that. When we are starting this, how to emotional is okay and finding myself really going down. Okay, so there's two ways. There's two kind of emotional reactions, if you will, in the beginning. So if you are not emotionally intelligent, right, and this isn't a negative thing. Emotional intelligence is a skill, right, that most people are not taught about. So it's like self-awareness, it's self-acknowledgement. There's all these steps, right? This is not an emotional intelligence class, so I won't get into it. But there is a lot of need, right, for emotional acknowledgement, right, and validation, right? But when we are constantly seeking outside of ourselves for that validation, it's never going to come. Because we want self-validation. We don't want external validation. We want internal validation. So we have to begin to validate our own emotions, right? So a lot of times when we feel something, so let's break this down. We have a thought, right? Then we have a trigger. And then that trigger creates, I love the balloons. We have balloons. And then we have a trigger, and that trigger, right, creates an emotional response, okay? And that emotional response is ours. So a lot of us don't have a toned nervous system. So what do I mean, a toned nervous system? So when you have these emotional reactions, right, it's cathartic. It all of a sudden feels good because we've never given ourselves the space to actually feel these emotions, right? So now all of a sudden, our emotions are now pretty much just cannibalizing on themselves, right? Over and over and over again. This is when you're stuck in a cycle, you just can't get out of it, right? Okay, so you let that roll. Because this is all a part of it. This is all a part of the journey. There's not like a shortcut to making this. There's not 3 steps to not make this messy. It's not, no, you're a human. This controlled way of living and doing life is just really not going to be there. Meaning that you're going to have to let yourself go. Meaning that you're going to have to allow yourself to be a human being. And so that may mean you're overly emotional and reactive for a while. That may mean you're shut down and running for a while, because people talk about healing like it's some big bang. It's not. So in the beginning, right, we have to build awareness. right? How do we build awareness, people, places, situation, circumstance, and event? So just like it's a trigger, it can also be something that begins to go, oh, this is an aha moment. Oh, right? Now you're in a stage of change. You're in a contemplative state, right? So now, okay, something triggered, right? Okay, good. So now, right, you're going to go back to self, right? And you're going to work on acknowledging how you feel. And that's why I recommend you do it every single day, because if you try to do it in more of a reactive state, right? I try to teach you proactivity instead of reactivity. Because if you do it in a reactive state, when you are in the middle of a trigger, right? You'll have less ability and less resilience, because you're going to be, your nervous system is going to be more in a reaction state. So there's that. Blessed high rising. Blessed high rising, Anna. Yes, when we first, this is, yes. Yeah, it's okay to feel. It's okay to have these emotions. It's okay to process these emotions, right? And remember, your emotions are you. They're part of you. They're your creation, right? So we don't want to push them away. But it can feel like a rocket hit. When somebody does something and we feel something, it reverberates, right? It goes, almost takes our breath away. So a lot of times in the beginning, we feel so many. It's incongruent. Our thoughts and our emotions don't match up, bam, and then we have this physical reaction because our bodies are trying to alert us to trauma, right? It's saying, wait a second, our mind and our emotions don't match up. Mayday, 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 right? So it feels like that rocket hit. That's why it's really important when something happens for you to affirm, I digest how I feel. I digest how I feel. Because a lot of times that rocket hit happens and then we hold our breath. Oh my God. And we don't even realize we're holding our breath, right? We're holding our breath because we feel like something has just hit us, right? When all actuality, it's just an uncomfortable emotion. It's not a physical thing that happened. It's a mental and an emotional thing. So when rocket hit, when something happens, okay, right? And this takes a while, right? But first things first is I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, right? Because you got to get through all of the epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol. That only takes 45 seconds, by the way, to run through your body. I know it may seem like a really long time, but it only takes 45 seconds. So, when something happens in the beginning, right? And I've gotten much better at this, but I recall back when I was trying to work this stuff out. I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, right? Was the first thing I could go to. Then I found my breath, right? So I'm safe was pretty much like the only thing I could say for like a month, right? So something would happen, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Something, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, right? So, and then it was, I'm safe, let me find my breath. I'm safe, let me find my breath. I'm safe, let me find my breath, right? I'm safe, I found my breath. Now I digest how I feel. I'm safe, I found my breath, I digest how I feel. I'm safe, I found my breath, I digest how I feel. So it's going to take some time, because what's happened is your nervous system is dysregulated. So when you feel an emotion, you feel it big, right? And some people allow their emotions to take control. That's why I separate your mind from your emotions, so that we can see they're a separate entity created by your thought patterns. So then if we continue to have reoccurring feelings, right, that keep showing up in that trash journal, then we know we need to look at our thoughts. We need to look at what our subconscious thoughts are, and we need to work on retraining that. So how do I retrain that, right? I'm going to do affirmations. I'm going to listen to positive affirmation. I'm going to practice conscious communication. I'm going to practice, maybe EFT, emotional freedom technique. I may take some baths, because Epsom salt really helps neutralize. Sea salt also really helps. I'm going to make sure I eat a lot of protein, because protein helps balance my blood sugar. So you see how these things go. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we concluded our morning flow class. So the class is an hour long. We just kind of got caught up in our conversation. So we do 15 every morning, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We start with 15 minutes of movement. We do 15 minutes of meditation. We're working through a prosperity meditation. If you're part of my community, then we have those discussions in our back end. If you're not and you want to join, there is a link in the bio. Also, too, if you want to be a part of my Intro to Holistic Medicine class, I will be doing another info session later today. If you're in the community, again, I'll post what time I'm going to go live because I don't know yet. I haven't decided. And so we just really want to keep this conversation going, around how to really transform your life. And so that's really what Intro to Holistic Medicine is. It's really deconstructing and decolonizing your relationship with your body, but mind, spirit, but also your health care. So holistic medicine doesn't separate anything out. So we're used to in our healthcare system and approaching our healthcare system where I go to a psychologist, I go to my primary care, I go to my specialist, I go to my PT, I go to my, all of these different professionals that don't talk to each other and don't work really integratively or cohesively. So holistic medicine is really a practice that brings all of this together. However, you need training, right? You can't just hang a shingle and call yourself a holistic doctor. I mean, some people do all the time, and I call them out because they don't really know what they're doing and they're doing a disservice to the public. So I'm going to be educating people. If you catch the lives, 100% free. If you want a certificate, there is a fee for the class, but otherwise you can join the intro class and get into the conversation. We host discussions in our communities. There's 3 communities that you can join. There's one if your intention is to become a holistic health coach. There's one if you just want to learn how to heal yourself and your family. And then there's one that's for Afro-Indigenous and Black people because there's nuance to our healthcare even further. So those are the 3 communities that you can choose from through this experience of Intro to Holistic Medicine. I'm going to teach you subjective and objective data, so you're going to learn on yourself using the data. Subjective is your thoughts, your feelings, etc. We're going to use one questionnaire. I'm going to teach you how to evaluate it. And then objective data, which is something outside of me, something outside of you that we can measure. We're going to look at 3 metrics. We'll look at salivary pH, urinary pH, and your heart rate. So we're going to look at your digestion, your detoxification ability, and your stress resilience in that class. It's a 12-week class broken up into 3 parts. First part is foundations, all about the data and the science and really the landscape of healthcare as we are today. The second part is the modalities. We're going to work through nutrition. We'll work through movement, meditation, and some natural remedies that we'll get through. And then we'll put it all together in the third part, really integrating in and then talking about next steps for people that want to learn more. So go ahead and check out my intro class. It's later on today. When I'm registered, when I put it, it won't post. When I'm registered for a class. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. Wireless. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I know. Yeah, I love it. It's so cool. Yeah, it's really a pleasure, honestly. I've been working on this for like a long time. It just so happened like it just worked out this way. Yeah. I'm a global brand, so I'm in the middle of my global launch. Yeah, I'm not sure, but if you tag me if either in the community, so when you're registering the class, where are you registering online? Are you registering through our communities? Like, I'll need to know a little bit more detail. I have a friend with a parasite called Leishmaniasis. I think I'm trying to get him in here. Which online? Through social or through our actual community? Because I posted them. Oh, you have to join you have to like actually go into the community to get the events calendar. Yeah, you have to like be in have you chosen your community yet? Have you chosen your group yet? Yay. Hello, lady. Yeah, so once you join your community, it'll have the events in there. So in the did you registered and you got an email, right? You more than likely will either receive it today. So if you just registered yesterday, it's on a delay. And definitely check your spam. And then I'm gonna send an email out this morning anyway. So I'm gonna send mass emails out to all of my people. So just to let people know. Geez, I need to shave. To let people know, what I need to do. So yeah, so every day kind of I send out more stuff just to try to, it's challenging because you've got people that are starting at all different times, and so there's overlap. So like depending on when you register, you may not get like an immediate because we're still in registration. So yeah. Yay. Yeah, so but feel free to reach out if you have any challenges for sure. Yay. Cool. Yeah, so you should have got an email. If not, you'll get one this morning. So an email just about choosing your group. This morning you'll get an email about the curriculum this week. So we're getting all into medical monopolies, and there's several different books we'll go through. So definitely hit the bell because I'll go on later today to chat about the actual class. I'm gonna run so I can send these emails out. Finish my workout as well. I need to do a little bit on my back, and drink some water and get some protein, and figure it out. So, all right, ladies, I will be, on later today. Have a great day.